Hi everyone, it's Melissa here. Hope you're all doing okay. The theme for this half term is houses and homes, so today we're going to make a house using jump modelling. Do you remember last half term we made a person in DT using jump modelling? It's going to be a little bit like that, but today we're making a house. So, I'm going to show you how I might make my house. I'll give you a couple of ideas on how you could do the windows, a couple of ideas on how you could decorate your house. If you have your own ideas, that's absolutely brilliant. Please don't feel like you have to use my ideas. They're just there to help you if you need it. You may need an adult to help you at some point in this video, so make sure someone's around that you can ask. Enjoy the video and send in some pictures of what you've made. We'd love to see what you've done. Bye! So the first thing I'm starting to do is tear up some newspaper, getting ready for the paper macheing. I found that if the newspaper is too big, then it will make lots of crinkles, and if it's too small, then it will take a really long time. So as you can see, the size that I've made, and I thought that was just about right. Make sure you've got enough newspaper teared up so that you don't, when you get your hands messy doing the paper macheing, you don't have to try and tear up more. It will just make it a little bit easier for you. So once I've done that, now I'm doing some paper mache. This is a way that you can make it with flour. So I've used a cup of flour and a cup of warm water. I'm using my hands to mix it together to get out all of the bumps and lumps. You may need to add in a little bit more water just to make sure it's nice and smooth. You don't want it too thick, otherwise when it sets it might go mouldy. Don't worry if you don't have flour at home, there is a different way that you could do this. So I've chosen my box. I've used a cereal box. If you want to use a different box, that's absolutely fine. Have a think about the shape and the size you want your house to be, and then choose something according to that. So what I'm doing is I'm dipping the newspaper into the liquid I've made, the paper mache liquid, and I'm scraping it along the side just to make sure I don't have too much excess liquid. I'm then using my hands to smooth over the newspaper onto the box so there's no lumps and bumps and that all of the sides are flattened down. So this is another way you could do paper mache if you have PVA glue, and then add in a little bit of water again. Again, I'm using my fingers just to make sure it's nice and smooth and it's not too sticky. And then I'm dipping the newspaper into the bowl, scraping it on the side and then smoothing it down onto the box. So if you don't have any newspaper or any ingredients to make paper mache, then you could just use some A4 paper and some sellotape. So I've just sellotaped all the sides down so that nothing's flapping over and it's all nice and secure on the box. If you wanted to draw on your house rather than paint, then paper might be better for you. So now I'm just measuring out how big the piece of paper needs to be to fit on the side of the box, and again I'm securing it down with sellotape. Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to think about decorating it. So some of you may want to paint your box, which would be brilliant. You can use a paintbrush to do this. If you haven't got a paintbrush, that's absolutely fine, because you could use a sponge, as you can see me doing now. I quite like using the sponge as it gave it that textured effect, you know, a bit like stone. You could use some other items. I don't know if you've got something different around your house. Let me know how you get on with it. I thought that giving my box one coat of paint wasn't enough, so I decided to give it another coat of paint. I waited for the box to dry before I did this. So now I'm thinking about adding some doors and windows on. So I'm drawing the doors and I'm drawing the windows before I cut it out. I'm going to show you two different ways that you could do your windows. So if you want your windows to be flaps, then I draw it as a capital I. And if you just want to cut your windows out, then I draw it as a rectangle or square, depending on what shape you want your windows to be. They could be a different shape. It's your choice. So again, when I'm cutting the door, I only cut 3 sides of the door, so then it was still attached and it could flap. With this part, you will need some adult help, as it can be a bit tricky sticking the scissors into the box, and I don't want you to hurt your fingers. Again, you don't have to use my ideas. If you do have a different way to do the windows, please feel free to do that and let me know how you get on. So I found that once I cut the paper and cut the holes into it, the paper was flapping off the box, so I'm just using some sellotape to secure the paper down again. And you can see the flaps. So next I'm thinking about decorating my box, and I'm going to draw some bricks. You might find it easier to do this before you stick the paper onto the box. You can get as creative as you want. Do you want to have a lot of detail and add bricks, or do you just want slabs? Maybe you just want to paint your house. That's absolutely fine. So here I'm colouring it in, or I'm using lines in different directions to give it a different effect. You could use dots to give it that stony effect again. Or you could just use lines. You can draw on some flowers if you want to. I drew one up the top. Perhaps you might want to draw some at the bottom, or you might want to draw some leaves and trees. So now I'm thinking about the roof. I cut a bit of card into a rectangular shape and then folded it in half. You can use glue to secure it onto the top. Or if you haven't got glue, then you can use some sellotape. So I cut a piece of sellotape and then folded it so it was backwards and the sticky was on the outside, and then just stuck it where I wanted it so that it could hold it in place. Now I'm decorating the roof again. Again, you could draw or you can paint, it's your decision. I didn't have a paint palette, so I just used plastic cups to put my paint in. So now I thought I'd draw some pictures that I'm going to stick inside the box to make it look like something's in the window of my house. So the first picture, I've drawn a person. This is supposed to be a couch. Some flowers. Obviously you can get as detailed as you want, and you don't have to do the same pictures as me, it's just suggestions. Here I've drawn a bed. When I cut it out, I cut out just outside the lines because I thought I might need some extra paper to cover the sides, but actually I could have just cut it out around the lines. It might be good to measure it out first. So now I'm going to stick it inside the box. I'm just cutting some sellotape, and when I'm sticking it on, I'm making sure the sticky side is the same side as the picture, so then when I stick it into the box, it will stick on. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Send us some pictures of what you've made. We can't wait to see.